my favorite color is. Oh my god! Hey guys, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite albums. I don't have time. I don't have that much time. I need to get to work. Not work, actually work. I'm going to start a job at some point. Man's gotta grow up. Come on. I finished high school. Today I'm gonna do an album review on the latest Jeff Rosenstock album, No Dream. Jeff Rosenstock is a power pop punk singer songwriter who has been in the music industry for quite some time. In the last few years, he had dropped albums like We Cool, which is a really great album, as well as Worry, which is also a really, really solid album released in 2016. The album Post is really not that good of an album. It feels rushed, but then we have No Dream, which, judging by the album cover, it's colorful, it's vibrant, and it's so aggressive, intense, dreadful, angry. It's filled to the brim with negative emotions, and it's just the kind of pop punk I like. Um, so, uh, it's a very intense album. The instrumentals, they're loud, noisy, heavy. The vocals are as ever, and the lyrics, they are just full of anger and sadness and fear. We have lyrical topics on this album. We have lyrics on this album ranging from having an existential crisis to families being separated south of the border. So we have a good range of song topics on this album, sort of commenting on, Jeff himself, or maybe the society, the socio-political climate around him. And it's also a very straightforward album. It's to the point. It's very exact. It's very blunt and brutally honest. And again, that is the kind of pop punk that I signed up for when I listened to a Jeff Rosenstock album. The album starts off with No Time, a 54-second long blast, a pop punk blast with incredibly shouty vocals, speedy, raging guitars, and also lyrics about not having a purpose, conformity. Very relatable. Very relatable. The second track, Nike's Alt, is a very loud and noisy and energetic, fun pop punk track. The very, I won't say toxic, but the very negative attitude it just works really well in this kind of music. And essentially, this track is about existential dread and how Jeff tries to, drink beer and buy shoes to, distract himself from the dread, but it just never goes away. It doesn't bring any happiness. It brings no happiness. Again, extremely relatable. The group vocals and the choruses, it's another really, really nice touch on the track, making it pop out even more. The chorus, it's huge, it's soaring, and it's just a very vibrant and energetic track. The next track, Scram! Exclamation mark, is on the surface it reads like a cutesy but also angry punk track with its quirky drum machines and its rhythmic guitars, but actually this track is about escapism, how Jeff wants to escape from people looking down on him, or just people lying to him, distrusting him, misleading him. I love how anthemic this track is. It's really easy to sing along to. It's really easy to shout along to. It's a very crowd track. Like you can imagine a crowd singing this song. Next up, we have the title track No Dream, and it starts off very lo-fi and stripped back, somewhat muffled, and then about at the halfway point of the track, it just explodes, bursts into this incredibly heavy and loud and noisy track. It sort of reminds me of System of a Down, given how shouty and screamy it is, but it still sounds really different. It sounds very sweet and catchy. And this track is about families being separated south of the American border, in the Mexican-American border, and it sort of comments on that very cleverly. Up next, we have the track State Line, and it's another highlight on the album that I absolutely love. It is sort of a 90s flavored rhythmic alt rock punk track. The drums and the bass, the way they're syncopated, is fantastic. It's groovy, it's watertight, as well as extremely catchy. The chords on this track is also very nostalgic. And then we have the track Fame, Fame, and obviously this track is about fame, or more like Jeff Rosenstock sort of commenting on his own fans, because on this track he repeatedly says, "You don't even know me, you will not control me, you don't even know me, you will not control me," and he sort of repeats that line over and over and over again, and as he repeats it, it gets more and more aggressive and angry. A lot of vocal layers here, dense, saturated, and fiery. This is a very fiery song. The shouty vocals, they just add onto the fieriness of the track. The next track, Leave It in the Sun, is not one of the more interesting tracks on the album. It's a very straightforward, noisy punk rock track. It reminds me a little bit of Green Day. This track is still very catchy, but again, it doesn't really stand out all that much instrumentally. It still feels like more of the same. However, I do really enjoy the lyrics. It's about growing up, but in order to grow up, you need to let go of something. And damn, this hits hard. This concept. Right now, I'm about to leave my teenage years, and this is tragic. This is fucking tragic. Then we have the track The Beauty of Breathing, which started off with a lot of amazing heavy riffs, and afterwards the guitar chords, they are also very solid, very cohesive, and they sound fantastic. However, I find this track to be a little bit repetitive, and I feel like the overall tone, the overall feel of this track, it just feels kinda okay. It's not as outstanding. It doesn't pop out as much as other tracks in the track list relatively. However, the next track, Old Crap, is very outstanding indeed. It is a multi-phased, epic, angry rant at the world. It begins pretty muffled, but later on it gets more and more aggressive, more and more loud and hi-fi. And on this track, Jeff Rosenstock basically embodies the world, as horrifying as it is. And I really like the ending of the track. It's incredibly aggressive. The banging drums just makes the rant angrier. The next track, Airbnb, though it is spelled asterisk 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 BNB. It's a very engaging track. The vocals are great. They are expressive, and I really love the syncopated guitars with the vocals. This track has a very strong sense of arrested development as well. And then we have the next two tracks, which are two okay tracks. Monday at the Beach, it's not as outstanding as a track. It's very short, very brief, and not that special in my opinion. And the track Honeymoon Ashtray, while I still think the guitar chords is the strongest part of the track. I love the guitar chords on this track. The guitar chords on each track on this album, they're all pretty great. The vocals are just okay, but the performance is pretty mild and low-key, and the lyrics sort of depict a honeymoon that's very disgusting. Like the hotel room is very gross and there are roaches everywhere, and it's just kind of distracting. However, the album ends off very, very solidly with the track Ohio Tpke, or Ohio Turnpike, which is a very wholesome and beautiful and energetic ending to the album. This track essentially is about coming home to someone, finally being able to come home after missing that someone for such a long time, and it's pretty powerful. The vocals are expressive. The way the instrumentals get softer and sweeter the closer he gets home, as he describes, being on the road, going through the door, finally returning home. The musical style just changes bit by bit, and it's pretty genius, pretty brilliant, and it's a pretty great ending to the album. So yeah, overall, I don't have much time left. I really, really like this album. One of my favorite albums of the year so far as well. I really love the incredibly aggressive and intense performance here, plus the very negative lyrics on this album, and just the very punk, not punk attitude, but the very ranty attitude that this album has. Just it's perfect for a pop punk album, and yeah. My favorite track here is probably Scram, and my least favorite is Monday at the Beach. I am giving Jeff Rosenstock's No Dream a strong 8 out of 10. So, have you listened to this new Jeff Rosenstock album from 1 to 10, which is rated? Like if you like it, and subscribe if you want more. And thanks for watching. I will be reviewing Freddie Gibbs and the Alchemist tomorrow, and then Backwash, as well as Deerhoof and then Proto Martyr very soon.